No matter where you go, no matter what dealership you go to, it will be completely full. Look at this Honda dealership, completely full. Honda was known to have a low day supply inventory wise. Well, guess what? Now they're completely full of inventory. They have all the stuff they ever need and they're struggling to sell it. At least it takes more time. It's not like it was in 2020, 21, 22. Man, the times have changed quite a bit.
Car dealerships are finally paying the price, and now it is time for us to celebrate. Back in 2021, cars were scarce, and many dealerships practically controlled the whole game. You thought you had won when you negotiated $1,200 off the price. The dealership would see you as a serious buyer, roll out the red carpet, and maybe even give you the best price they had ever offered anyone. But that was actually the trap. Just 1 month later, you could lose thousands of dollars to charges that had never even been mentioned. And by 2026, the bad news for dealerships is that the trap is now snapping shut on them. So if you want to know exactly what is happening to car dealerships right now, watch this video. And here is the good news. In just a few minutes, I will show you how to use this situation to save thousands of dollars on your next car purchase. By the end of this video, you will understand why negotiating the sticker price is nothing more than an act. Are you ready? Before we get into the main issue, I want to be completely honest about something important. Not everyone in the car business is a scammer. I think that word is pretty harsh. I want to make this clear because I am not here to unfairly attack an entire industry. There are genuinely good salespeople out there who respect you. They give you room to think and understand that buying a car is the second biggest financial decision most people will make in their lives right after buying a home. Those people do exist. However, not every customer is lucky enough to meet someone like that. The problem became most obvious from the middle of 2021 through most of 2022, when cars were scarce and sellers held almost all the power. Customers were no longer asking how much a dealership could take off the price. They just wanted to know whether the car would still be there tomorrow. Some dealerships sold vehicles above the suggested retail price, added a market adjustment, and then sent customers into the finance office to sell them extended warranties, protection packages, extra insurance, and all kinds of other products. Negotiating almost disappeared. The message was very clear. If you do not buy it, someone else is waiting behind you. And the way cars were sold during that period left behind something harder to erase than any discount being offered today: a complete loss of trust. But now, unfortunately for them, dealerships cannot sell cars the way they used to, just like I said. And one reason dealerships cannot move inventory is that all those post-pandemic car buyers paid way too much. They did not just pay high prices, they also borrowed money at outrageous interest rates. Customers may forget the exact amount they overpaid, but they do not forget how it felt when the seller knew they had the weaker hand. That is why comments like, "Do not forget what they did during COVID," "I will never forget how they treated me," and "greed has consequences" keep showing up over and over again. Now, many dealerships have to cut prices to clear inventory, recover their money, and stay in business. But customers are still asking, is this really the final price, or are there still paperwork fees, delivery fees, mandatory accessories, and other charges waiting to be added back in once they get to the finance office? And in my opinion, they are getting exactly what they deserve. Their profits are dropping sharply compared with 2020, 2021, and 2022, when they made enormous amounts of money by selling cars above the suggested retail price, adding extra charges, and taking advantage of the vehicle shortage. And now, as we move through 2026, the line, "If you do not buy it, someone else will," does not sound nearly as powerful as it used to, because the one sitting around waiting is no longer the customer. It is the hundreds of cars baking in the sun on the lot, quietly sending the dealership another bill every single day. Trust me, this is the most interesting part, and you do not want to miss it.
And yes, a lot of them were short-sighted. They got a quick grab and go, right? They grabbed the cash and left. But now that inventory is starting to become a surplus and most dealers are not selling as many units, and the used vehicle inventory still remains very, very scarce, and I'll tell you why.
Leave your thoughts after watching that footage, and now I'm going to tell you how I see it. When I look at car lots like this, it feels like many dealerships only have two choices left: shut down and leave behind an empty piece of land, or stay open with hundreds of cars packed in from the front entrance all the way to the back. This place is practically drowning in cars. Row after row of vehicles stretches across the lot. Many of them already have discount signs on them, but they still have not found a buyer. A few years ago, customers were told, "If you do not buy it, someone else is waiting behind you." Now it looks like that person still has not shown up, while the car just keeps sitting there in the sun. What many people do not know is that most of these vehicles were not bought entirely with the dealership's own cash. Dealerships usually use a type of inventory financing called a floor plan. Put simply, a lender provides the money so the dealership can bring the vehicles onto the lot. When a vehicle is sold, the dealership pays back the loan along with the interest. The car we are looking at may already have been sold, but most of the vehicles still sitting there are still tied to that credit line. And the longer a car sits, the more the dealership has to pay in financing costs. They also have to pay for insurance, the property advertising, cleaning, moving vehicles around, and keeping the batteries charged. Cars that sit for a long time also need to be checked again before delivery. Tires, brakes, software, and recalls can all create extra costs and take more time, but sometimes the most painful cost does not show up on an invoice. It is time. A model year 2025 vehicle can still be called new because it has never been registered to an owner. But once model year 2027 vehicles start showing up, customers will see it as leftover inventory from an older model year. They will ask how long it has been sitting there, why it is not sold, and how much more the dealership is willing to take off. At that point, the dealership ends up in a pretty ironic situation. If they hold the price, the vehicle stays on the lot, the interest keeps adding up, and the model year keeps getting older. If they lower the price to move it, they free up their money, but have to accept less profit than they expected. In other words, they are no longer choosing between making a lot of money and making a little money. With hard-to-sell vehicles, the choice now is losing some profit today, or continuing to pay money just to delay that decision until tomorrow. I do not enjoy seeing employees lose their jobs or a local business shut down, but it is also hard to call this unfair. When buyers needed cars, time used to be on the dealership's side. Now every passing day gives the customer a little more leverage. Personally, I would not rush just because I saw a sign offering $10,000 off. I would ask for the manufacturing date, how long the vehicle has been on the lot, the condition of the battery and tires, and the final price after every fee. Because a full car lot does not mean customers need to run over and buy something. It means buyers have taken back the most important thing of all time. And the more vehicles that remain on the lot, the thicker the dealership's stack of bills keeps getting.
So you voluntarily gave back your vehicle. Does it still affect your credit?
I have car payments, which is so stupid. It literally makes me sick thinking about it. I wish we would have just waited like a year and maybe saved up like $20,000 in cash and bought a used car, because purchasing a brand new car was so dumb.
I bet it is not just the woman or the man in that clip who is dealing with this situation. A lot of people are looking at the car they love and wondering why the monthly payment still feels so exhausting. The good news is that you are definitely not alone. The not so pleasant news is that this debt is stopping many people from trading in their cars, and it is costing dealerships the customers they desperately need. Picture someone walking into a dealership, choosing a new car, and bringing in their current vehicle to get it appraised. They still owe the bank $30,000, but the dealership can only offer $23,000 for the vehicle. That $7,000 gap does not just disappear. The customer either has to pay the difference out of pocket or roll the entire amount into the new loan. Put simply, they are not just bringing an old car to the dealership. They are also bringing along a bill that has not been fully paid. In Q2 of 2026, nearly 3 out of every 10 vehicles traded in toward a new car were worth less than the amount still owed on them. The average gap was $6,884. When that debt was added to the next deal, the average monthly payment rose to $944, which was significantly higher than the market average. And this is where some dealerships are starting to reap the rewards of those years of high car prices. The customer has arrived, the new car has been chosen, the salesperson has almost finished the job, but the old loan is sitting right in the middle of the table and it flat out refuses to leave. The bank may require the customer to put down more money. The new payment may be more than the family can afford. The customer has to choose a cheaper model or thank the salesperson and walk away. The new car is then taken right back to the same spot on the lot. The dealership does not just lose one vehicle sale. It keeps paying the cost on the unsold car, and it loses the profit from the new loan, the warranty, and the accessories. It also loses the chance to take in the customer's old vehicle and resell it. To save the deal, the dealership may lower the price of the new car even more, offer more for the trade-in, or use incentives to cover part of the gap. But no matter which option they choose, their profit gets smaller, and when the debt gap is already too large, cutting a few $1,000s is sometimes still not enough. To me, this is the most ironic part of the whole story. Long loans once helped some dealerships sell vehicles at extremely high prices, but now those same loans are stopping those customers from coming back and buying again. They may have made more money on the first deal, but at the same time, they lost the second deal, the second loan, and the trade-in vehicle. If I were in this situation, I would find out exactly how much I still owed before even thinking about trading in the car. If the vehicle was still running well, I would keep it a while longer and pay down more of the loan. For dealerships, that means customers are coming back more slowly, sales keep getting delayed, and the vehicles outside on the lot are still sitting there. I know some people will ask, what about the people who have already paid off their old loans and no longer have a car payment hanging over them? Why have they still not returned to the dealership? The answer may be even more troubling. Many of them no longer trust the new vehicles being offered for sale.
I'm emotional. I'm very emotional. So, something's going on with these dealerships. I've been at 2 dealerships, and pretty much I kind of got turned around on 2 dealerships. Guys, what's going on?
A dealership can lower the price of a vehicle, but it cannot lower the fear of a repair bill. Take a look at this plastic part on this BMW. It has become brittle and could break right in the mechanic's hand. I am not saying every BMW has this problem, and I am not saying that using plastic automatically means poor quality. Plastic helps make vehicles lighter and serves many engineering purposes. But when an expensive vehicle has parts under the hood that can wear out easily, buyers have every right to question how long it will last. And the concern does not stop with one piece of plastic. People start wondering how many similar parts are hidden in places they cannot see. In another case, the mechanic points out how the drive shaft runs through the oil pan area. A job that sounds simple may require removing a lot of components just to reach the part that needs to be repaired. With the Mazda CX-5 in this source, the differential mount bushing failed, but according to the mechanic, that small part is not sold separately. To fix it, the owner may have to replace an entire larger assembly. Sometimes the broken part is not expensive at all. What is expensive is the number of labor hours it takes to remove everything and reach it. These examples are observations from mechanics working on specific vehicles. They are not proof that every vehicle from the same brand has the same problem, but for the average buyer, seeing a part worth a few dozen dollars create a repair bill worth thousands of dollars can be enough to make them back away. The Toyota Tundra is another example. This model switched from a naturally aspirated V8 engine to a twin-turbo V6. I am not saying the new engine is definitely less durable. Turbo technology can provide better power and meet newer requirements, but it also adds turbochargers, oil lines, coolant lines, and more parts that need maintenance. For people who plan to keep a vehicle for 10 or 15 years, the question is not just how powerful it feels while it is still under warranty. They want to know how much they will have to pay after the vehicle reaches 100,000 miles, and this is where the dealership pays the real price. When buyers do not trust the durability of a product, taking $5,000 or $10,000 off may not solve the problem. The discount only tells them how much cheaper the vehicle is today. It does not tell them how large the repair bill might be 5 years from now. A customer who decides to keep an older vehicle does not just cost the dealership one new vehicle sale. The dealership also loses the loan, the extended warranty, the accessories, the trade-in vehicle it could resell, and years of future service revenue. In other words, it does not just lose a signature, it may lose the entire value of a long-term customer. The ironic part is that dealerships did not design these vehicles. They did not decide which materials to use, where to place the components, whether to sell a small part separately, or whether to make customers replace an entire assembly. But they still have to stand in the showroom and explain why that product is worth $40,000, $50,000, or $70,000. It is true that service departments can still make money from complicated vehicles. In Q1 of 2026, parts and service generated only about 19% of AutoNation's revenue, but contributed as much as 49% of its gross profit. That shows just how important the service department is as a source of profit. But there is a problem: the dealership can only make money repairing the vehicle after the customer buys it. If fear of repair bills keeps the customer from signing in the first place, there will be no vehicle coming back to the service department. In my opinion, this is what automakers and dealerships need to understand. Buyers are not against every new technology. They just do not want to pay a high price for a product that makes them feel like they are buying extra risk. Personally, I would not just ask about the monthly payment. I would research the exact model year, the exact engine, whether individual parts can be purchased separately, and the cost of repairs after the warranty ends. A good vehicle should not just run well when it is new. It should also be affordable to repair when it gets older. Dealerships did not make these engineering choices, but they are paying the price through vehicles that are harder to sell, deeper discounts, and customers who decide to keep their old cars. And once that loss of trust starts hitting profits, the consequences will no longer exist only in customer complaints. They will show up directly in the business reports. At this point, all the explanations start to matter less because the bill is already showing up in the business reports. During the vehicle shortage, some dealerships could make extra money from high selling prices, accessories, and finance products. But yesterday's profits do not guarantee that customers will come back today. As vehicles become harder to sell, loans become harder to get, and trust continues to fall, every source of income that once looked so attractive starts getting smaller. Penske Automotive Group reported that gross profit from new vehicle sales at established stores fell 12% in Q1 of 2026 compared with the same period a year earlier. This is not a small business struggling to survive on a street corner. This is one of the largest automotive retail groups, and even they are making less profit every time they sell a vehicle. Group 1 Automotive also said total gross profit at its U.S. stores fell 5.5% during the same quarter. That does not mean every dealership is losing money or about to close, but it does show that the days of simply putting a vehicle on the lot and waiting for a customer to accept the price are no longer as easy as they used to be. And this is the ironic part. Some dealerships once tried to squeeze more profit out of a single transaction. Now, just to sell the same vehicle sitting outside on the lot, they may have to lower the price offer more for the trade-in or give up some of the income from the finance office. Completing the sale is already difficult. Keeping the old profit margin is even harder. But the bill is not just coming from the market. In March of 2026, the Federal Trade Commission sent warning letters to 97 dealership groups about the way they advertise prices, stressing that the advertised price must reflect the amount customers are actually required to pay. In the Lindsay Auto Group case, more than $75 million in customer charges collected from 2020 through 2025 may be eligible for refunds. The group also has to pay $3.1 million in civil penalties. This is a specific case and does not represent the entire industry, but it shows that fees that once generated revenue can come back in the form of refunds, legal expenses, and tighter oversight. In my opinion, this is the price that matters most. It is not about a dealership suddenly disappearing overnight. It is about making less money on every vehicle, offering deeper discounts to attract buyers, having a harder time selling finance products, and sometimes having to return money that was already collected. They once focused on maximizing one transaction. Now they are discovering that losing a customer's trust can make many future transactions disappear. And when dealerships lower prices but buyers are still suspicious, the most important thing is knowing how to use that advantage without walking into another financial trap. So what should buyers do when dealerships need to sell vehicles, but a bad contract can still follow them for years? In my opinion, the first rule is not to walk into a dealership while depending entirely on them. Before shopping for a vehicle, I would contact a bank or credit union and get pre-approved for a loan. I need to know how much I can borrow, the expected interest rate, the loan term, and the total interest cost. After that, I would still listen to the dealership's financing offer, but I would only choose it if the terms were truly better. Both the FTC and the CFPB recommend shopping for a loan ahead of time, so buyers have something to compare with the dealership's offer. Next, I would ask for the final price in writing before going to the store. That price should include the vehicle price and every required charge needed to drive it off the lot. Once I have that number, I can send the same request to several stores and make an accurate comparison instead of being drawn in by an advertised price and then discovering a long list of extra charges right before signing. The FTC also advises buyers to get the out-the-door price in writing before discussing financing. In the finance office, any product I do not understand gets a very simple answer: I am not buying it yet. An extended warranty, paint protection, vehicle identification number, etching loan insurance, or a maintenance package may make sense for some people, but I would ask exactly what it does, how much it costs, whether it is required, and whether I can buy it later. Add-on products are often rolled directly into the loan, which means buyers may not only pay the price of the product, but may also pay interest on it. The next important step is slowing down the signing process. I would not let several hours of waiting music playing in the showroom or a statement like "this offer is only available today" make the decision for me. Before signing, I would check the vehicle price, the down payment, the trade-in value, the amount financed, the interest rate, the loan term, the total finance cost, and every additional product. Under federal lending rules, buyers must receive important information such as the APR finance charge amount financed and payment schedule before signing. But paperwork only helps when we actually read it. Finally, I would not ask, how much do I have to pay each month? I would ask, how much money will this vehicle take out of my pocket in total? A lower payment can be created by extending the loan term. It feels easier today, but it can lead to more total interest and make the debt go down more slowly. The CFPB recommends comparing loans based on their total cost, not just the monthly payment. For me, the best defense is not walking into a dealership ready for a fight. It is walking in with my own financing, a written price, and enough self-control to stand up and leave. Another vehicle will always come along. A bad contract can stay with you much longer. In 2026, the US auto market looks completely different from the way it did a few years ago. Back then, buyers had to chase a limited supply of vehicles. Now many dealerships are putting up discount signs, offering incentives, and trying to move vehicles that have been sitting on the lot for too long. But discounts may still not be enough. Vehicle prices in many places are still higher than what an average family can afford, while buyers are increasingly questioning whether those prices match the durability and ownership costs they are getting. Older model year vehicles continue to sit. Interest on inventory financing keeps adding up. Profits from vehicle sales loans and finance products are no longer as easy to make as they used to be. In my opinion, the pressure on dealerships is not going away anytime soon. So have dealerships really lowered prices enough, or should buyers keep waiting until vehicle prices return to their true value?